Good evening. Welcome to San Francisco Weekly News. My name is Diane Wesley Smith. We're going to continue our conversation about the contamination, the radioactive and other toxic cancer or other cancer-causing substances that have been found present at the Hunters Point Naval Shipyard. It's such a toxic relationship. First, also let me share with you that we're going to air this segment of our coverage of the contamination at the naval shipyard, the fact that the U.S. Navy passed over the land and it wasn't clean. We'll be talking about the facts. So it's a very long, in-depth story. There's a lot of collusion, and I need my responsibility. If I could change it and fix it, of course I would. But the only thing that I can do is make sure that you are informed. And I also want to say that as a licensed real estate broker and member of the National California and San Francisco Association of Realtors, I and the Bayview Hunters Point real estate professionals are 100% committed to never selling any property on contaminated land, on any land that we would not live on. So the reluctance of Five Point Lennar, the reluctance of the OCII, which is our former redevelopment agency, to perform soil tests is not acceptable. So, the relationship is so toxic. Can the same government regulators who let the fraudulent cleanup go unnoticed, can we trust them to finish the job? Contamination still exists at the Five Point Lennar Bayview Hunters Point construction project, which is located right now it's at the San Francisco Naval Shipyard, but it's going to expand around to Candlestick Park. And the goal is that one can walk from basically Pier 39 or walk from the piers and walk all along the waterfront. Great idea. However, the land must be clean and it must be safe for people and pets, or little people, or pet people, and children. So the Older Redevelopment Agency, there are a few of us around that know the history, that are still living. And so it is incumbent upon us that we stand up and do whatever we can do. And so in our hearts, we can say we know that we have done the right thing. So the Older Redevelopment Agency is now called the Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure, or OCII. Raise your hand if you lived in Fillmore and you saw what the redevelopment agency did under the guise of redevelopment. Raise your hand if you lived in Bayview, Hunters Point, Visitation Valley, Sunnyvale, the Valencia Gardens, any of those areas. Redevelopment came through and people left. Hunters Point is unique in the fact that we have city-wide views, and we're on a solid hill. It's located, when the earthquake came in 1989, the majority of the homes that I personally inspected had little or no damage. If there was any damage, it was usually just a crack in the foundation. Okay, but back to the OCII, which is the new redevelopment agency, folks. And if you're not aware of the redevelopment agency and its handiwork and their promises to communities that are affected, if you're not familiar with what a Superfund site is, which is so toxic with cancer-causing agents that death occurs, and it's documented, death has been documented, diseases have been documented in direct relation to these sites. That's why they're called Superfund sites. Okay, OC2 or OCII or 11, it's just the same dog. It just has a different name, but the same fleas. It has approved initial plans for the construction of more homes at the Hunters Point Shipyard. despite pending litigation over health concerns there. Well, I say here because I, I'm a homeowner. Not I'm a homeowner, but more importantly, I'm a native San Franciscan. And reports of fraud and ongoing toxic cleanup of the former U.S. naval base. So, despite pending litigation over health concerns there, and reports of fraud, oh, I also refer to it here because that's where I grew up in that toxic area. So, despite the pending litigation over health concerns and reports of fraud and ongoing cleanup, the form that the U.S. Naval Department turned over to us, they've been approved by OCII, or the new redevelopment agency, to go ahead. Parts of the shipyard, which is the U.S. EPA Superfund site, have long been known to be contaminated with radioactive materials, as well as asbestos and pesticides. Its dry docks once served as cleaning stations for ships exposed to atomic tests in the Pacific Ocean, and the former naval base also housed the Nuclear Warfare Research Lab. The independent investigation will have no true integrity and honesty without the involvement of the Bayview Hunters Point Restoration and Advisory Board, commonly known as RAB. This approval should have never been allowed. It should never. Why are they allowing development on land that hasn't even been soil tested? These panels of experts from UC Berkeley and UCSF clearly are ineffective alone in accomplishing the cleanup of the Superfund site. We have yet to see any commitment from these so-called independent experts. Oftentimes, it's reported that these experts cannot be located, or they're working as though they are uncommitted volunteers. It is a well-known fact that the U.S. Navy contractor Tetra Tech has been charged with falsifying the radiation cleanup at the shipyard following audits by the Navy and the EPA, which were made public early last year. In May, 2 former Tetra Tech supervisors were sentenced to federal prison after they admitted to falsifying records and swapping out soil samples. The company has denied widespread fraud, so we're supposed to trust them, and has placed blame on rogue employees. We call that pass the buck. The EPA determined that on 6 parcels of land. Let me show you this. Okay, the sign that you see there, that's what's posted at one of the gates. It's danger, keep out. These are the contaminated sites. This is the block of all affected area. That's the entire area. They've not even went around to Candlestick and taken soil samples yet. But this is what we're talking about. This is what it's going to look like. I mean, not literally, but in our minds, because you're having homes. You're having housing. In San Francisco, there'll be more apartment complexes or condominium complexes as opposed to single-family homes, which you see depicted here. The point is radioactivity. The point is it is not safe. The point is there must be 100% cleanup. The Navy contractor spearheading the former Tech Tetra spearheaded the shipyard's toxic cleanup for more than 10 years and was so unreliable that the Navy ordered the company to retest it. In May, 2 supervisors were sentenced to federal prison. Well, whoopee, but no matter. The city's Office of Community Infrastructure, Investment and Infrastructure, OCII, Commission on Tuesday approved revised schematic drawings for the development of Block 52, which stretches roughly an acre along Kirkwood and Gerald Avenues and is owned by developer Lennar Urban. Better known now, they're renaming it their other name, AKA 5 Point. The plan would bring 68 market rate and 9 below market rate units. When we're talking about below market rate, what does that mean? I have yet to see below market rate equal affordable housing. And that's my professional input as a licensed real estate broker, an active broker. The commission on Tuesday approved 112 affordable units on Block 54. Again, there goes that word, affordable. What exactly do they mean? What is the chart? Unfortunately, over 439 homes have been built, and 66 are, as I referred to earlier, currently under construction as part of phase one, part of a mega, Lord knows we need it. We need mega housing and commercial development. We need more than 10,500 housing units, which are planned for the shipyard, but more than anything else, we need clean land. We need the soil tested. What is the problem? Test the soil. They found a highly radioactive metal particle that was about the size of a quarter, just steps away from where people are living right now. The finished homes, as well as a proposed 189 units that won initial approval on Tuesday, are located on Parcel A. Let me show you another picture. Because people, this is a picture of people, and they're just saying they're building houses on radioactive sites. Not okay. Not okay. So, Parcel A was the first shipyard site to undergo development because it was historically was used for housing. However, they had let me show you this picture. Okay. There was a police station located at the shipyard. The toxicity, the cancer rate, the radioactivity was so high, they moved the police station. But yet, they would build houses for you and me, for our families and our pets. Public health, no matter. Parcel A was the first shipyard site to undergo development because it has historically been used for housing, and city and state agencies have deemed it safe. However, environmental advocates and shipyard residents have called for retesting efforts to include Parcel A, where as recently as last fall, a radioactive deck marker, that's what I was referring to, it's called a radioactive deck marker, was found just feet away from residents' homes. The commission's vote comes weeks after the California Department of Public Health completed walkover scans of developed portions of Parcel A for radioactive materials following public pressure. The state agency reported finding no hazard, but residents and advocates want soil sampling. Without soil sampling, how can we ever trust the soil? This walkover scans smacks of greed. It smacks of illegalities. It smacks of corruption and collusion. Public health, no matter. Public safety, no matter. But public pressure will continue until all lives matter and 100% radiation and other cancer-causing agents have been removed from the shipyard and from Parcel A, where people unfortunately are already living. So, they bring Africans in. They bring in people that look like us, but they have no love for us. And they bring these people in and they put them in charge of these large corporations. They put them in charge of redevelopment because they don't have any love for us. They look us in the eye and they say things like this. We had completion and certification from the City Department of Health that it is clean and safe. We had that before from the City Department of Public Health, and it was incorrect. So again, we had completion and certification from the City Department of Public Health that it is clean and safe for residents and the environment, said OCII Director Nadia Cisse on Tuesday. They're bringing, excuse me, but I have to say this because my people are dying. We just buried Marie Harrison. This thing has been going on too long. So none of the people that have love for the community, none are ever placed in positions of authority. Or else if they are, they had love, but the money changed them. So they're bringing in Africans to do their dirty work, and they're employed in superior positions to residents from Bayview Hunters Point. For over half a century, San Francisco's Bayview Hunters Point residents have been subject to threats, intimidation, and outright mistreatment in areas of housing and economic opportunities. Several Parcel A homeowners who last July filed a class action lawsuit against Tetra Tech and the shipyard's developers, claiming that they were misled about the extent of the contamination. You can say that again. Yes, they were misled. We attending the meeting, and they were excuse me. This is very emotional for me. Excuse me. But this is so serious, folks. It's absolutely ridiculous. Excuse me. Several Parcel A homeowners who last July filed a lawsuit against Tetra and the shipyard's developers, claiming that they were misled about the extent of the contamination, attended the meeting and said that they did not trust those test results. The meeting was the meeting that was held Tuesday with the new redevelopment agency called OCII, with the director, Ms. Cisse, telling us that everything is fine. I understand that the city department was supposed to speak to you with you, and independent review is being done by UC Berkeley and UCSF. There has been very little transparency in that process and very little community engagement, said Linda Parker Pennington, who bought a home in Parcel A with her husband some 4 years ago. People are moving in there now, and people who moved in have not moved into the vision that we were sold and bought into. More work needs to be done to make sure there is credibility, added Parker Pennington. As you move forward, please note that we do not trust the safety of where we are living right now. There has been no restitution for the health of the community of the larger Bayview, which needs to be addressed, Ms. Pennington concluded. Some of the commissioners share concerns about forging ahead with new development. Yet the result was the same, nil. Construction will continue without soil samples examined for radioactivity and other cancer-causing substances. Well, I don't know about you, but if we have commissioners that can't help us, then what? But this is what's called insider dealing. Now, I can speak up, we can protest, but at the end of the day, people already know what they're going to do, folks. And unless we pressure them, unless there's public pressure, it continues. You see, I'm sharing this information with you because forewarned is forearmed. And I've been warning you, and I've been sharing everything that I can with you since about 2004. So we have to do more. It's great that we have commissioners sharing concerns, but if their concerns are not effective, if their concerns cannot help us, then that is even more reason and justification that the commission must have an oversight committee. OCII, the new redevelopment agency, must have an oversight committee. They absolutely must work with our RAB board. I say our because it is the community board. People cannot make decisions without the RAB because there are some doctors that cannot be bought, and they've been fighting a long time, and they will continue. And it is because of their commitment. That's the wind beneath my wings. I'm urging this commission to move forward with the understanding that we share the same concerns. My team works there and contractors work in the community, and we want closure at least from that standpoint, Cisse said. We don't care if she wants closure. We want a clean shipyard. Then you can carry on. You can build. This is pre-development works. This is a pre-development work site. So there's no need to test the soil, so to speak, she said. That is why she was hired, to say that, because they have no love for us and have shown no love for us with blatant disrespect of our health concerns, our deaths, and diseases caused by the contamination left on these particles by the U.S. Navy. Danger, keep out. So, some of the sites look like that. Isn't that pretty? But that's contaminated. The soil hasn't been sampled, but isn't that pretty? Follow the money, folks. Follow the money. This is what she was hired to say. She was hired to say that there is no need. This is pre-soil work. We cannot trust them. So now we're supposed to trust the same people that have misled us. Meanwhile, people have died. If people are dying, people are diagnosed with diseases that are directly caused by their residency at the Hunters Point Naval Shipyard. No matter. Construction on Block 52 is expected to begin in 2020 and conclude in late 2021. Construction for Block 54 is expected to be completed by fall 2002. Follow the money, folks. All of this is contaminated land until they can show us otherwise. If it was clean, I think they'd show us. I want to thank you for joining us. The show will run for the month of August. It is important, it is imperative that we show up for ourselves. We're all in this together. Black, white, Chinese, let's come together. No finger pointing. Let's come together, because public pressure avails much. We're all of us have families. All of us have children. We all want safety. So the development and the approval of OC, of the new redevelopment agency, OCII or OC2, is not acceptable. They're going to go ahead, unless you say something, unless you start speaking up. These independent reviewers can't do it. People have said, they're on record saying they can't. These independent reviewers they operate without commitment. There doesn't appear to be any love or concern, no genuine, heartfelt concern. And then half the time they cannot be found. There's no commitment. We need commitment. We demand commitment. So we're going to follow the money. We're going to stay active. Show up, folks. Show up for yourselves. Show up for your families. Show up for your pets. We need safe places. I want to give credit to L. Waxman at the San Francisco Examiner as contributing editor to the show. Thank you very much. And stay woke. Educate yourself, because cancer is on the rise. And it's cancer-causing agents everywhere. Let us not build. Stand up. Let us not build on land where the soil hasn't been tested. The soil should be tested from Candlestick Park. Okay, it should be tested from Candlestick Park, which is, you see that curve? So all the way around, see that last curve up on the left, right? I can't show you, but it's on the left, and it curves over to the left. Well, coming on around that open circle of water, that is Candlestick Park. Soil should be tested everywhere, all along the waterfront, actually, because wherever the Navy worked, the soil should be tested. Without soil testing, we cannot trust. Without the RAB, we will not trust. Thank you. Keep hope alive. Be nice to your neighbors. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diane Wesley Smith, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.